Hi and welcome back to my channel. Is anybody else like me? You love a pocket. I know Dawn does, Dawn Evans, because we've talked about it, but I can't resist sticking my hands in pockets. And I just got shorts on this morning and my automatic reaction is to stick my hands in pockets. And I was just mindful of the days when I had clothes that had pockets but never enough space to get my hands in. So yeah, I didn't want to be rude and stand with my hands in my pockets. I'll take them out. Nice group this morning, but quite quiet for our group, and I think it's because our schools have all broken up. So this next fortnight is when a lot of people go on holiday, and of course they booked the holiday, so we know they're not coming to group. But we only actually had 33 people in our group meeting at 10 o'clock this morning, which is quite small, but it was nice. And in some ways it feels a little more intimate when there are less people. So yeah, great job Naomi, good group. And my result, well, I'm going to mention first a comment that was in last week's video from one of the people who follows my channel, a lady called Marcia Johnson. Hi Marcia. And I found this comment really made me think, and it was interesting because Marcia was commenting, and you can read it in the box, but she was commenting about the fact that we fluctuate with weight. And this led me to have a conversation with a friend who's never had a weight problem, and I said to her, does your weight fluctuate? And she said, I don't know, because I don't have any scales. And I said, do you never get weighed? And she said, no, never even think about it. And I thought, what a lovely place to be. And hopefully, you know, one day, I don't know, do I mean that? Do I sincerely mean that? Do I want to get to that place? I actually like to go to group every week, and I like to know what I weigh. And maybe I'll never get to the place where it doesn't matter, but I'm okay being where I'm at. But the point that Marcia made was, you know, about fluctuation really resonated with me, because after losing the amount of weight I've lost, which is about 13 stone, I can't really expect every week to have a loss. I mean, that's just not possible. I'm at a healthy BMI. I think, did we work out yesterday, Joe? My BMI is 23.4, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's smack bang in the middle of what's considered to be healthy, and that's probably why I feel so good. So what I'm looking at now is I always make a note of my first weigh-in of the month and compare it to my first weigh-in of the previous month. And as long as I'm ending each month within a pound of where I was the previous month, now that might be a pound above, it might be a pound below, but as long as I'm holding around that weight, I'm comfortable. Now what I had found was allowing myself to go up into my current target again, rather than living way below target. I wasn't ending my month within a pound of my previous month's weight. And I think that was why I wasn't feeling comfortable in my body, because gaining weight now is so much more obvious to me than it ever was when I was massively overweight. So I'm going to take that word on board, Marcia, and I'm going to think of my weight, if I can remember to do it, as fluctuating, rather than focusing on gains and losses. I'm going to think of my weight as fluctuating around a certain point. So my aim is to get back to 9 stone, because that's what I've chosen my happy weight's going to be. My aim is to get back to 9 stone, and then after that, and hopefully I'll be there within a month, because I'm not, I can hear thunder rolling in the distance. Yeah, hopefully I'll be there within the month. I'm not racing to get back there. I'm not in a hurry, because this is for the rest of my life. But when I do get there, so let's say hopefully by the end of August, or in time for my birthday, beginning of September, then my target weight is somewhere I want to fluctuate around. And that feels in some ways like a step away from focusing on losing and gaining. So I'll see how that pans out. But these things can't be set in stone, because until we get there we don't know what it feels like. So I'm happy with that. A couple of products we want to bring to you this week. Now one of them I think a lot of people will already be aware of, but I want to talk about it because I'm actually eating them. So ciabatta, Shah ciabatta rolls. Can you show those, Joe, please?
Yeah. Which ones?
Well, both. There's a brown version.
What's the brown?
And there's a white version. Now both of these are healthy extra B choices. The white one, if you want to sin it, is 5 sins, and the brown is 6 sins. Is the white one as high in psyllium as the brown, Joe?
I don't know if it's as high in psyllium, it doesn't.
Doesn't it say?
Give
Doesn't give the percentages.
No.
Both of these products contain psyllium, which is a great fibre provider and works really well for us, doesn't it, Joe? We find that they do work well as a fibre provider. We also find they have really good filling power. They're not massive, but if you use them, I mean, we toast ours. And I would put avocado on it, I'd have baked beans with it. Joe puts sardines in tomato sauce in his. They're great, healthy option, B, and really tasty. There was something that I knew was around and never really tried it, but because Joe has to be wheat-free and gluten-free, there's something that he can eat. So that's really why we bought them, because Joe could have them, but I've actually discovered that I like them. So I think they're about £2.25, are they, Joe, for a pack of 4?
Yeah, £2.
£2 at the moment, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, depends on where you buy them, but around that price. And the other thing is, I love cork. And I've often said on here, my favourite cork is Asda's at 75p. And my second favourite is Tesco. I don't like Sainsbury's one, it's too runny. I don't like the Aldi one, it's too cheesy. But it's all about personal taste, because I don't put anything in mine. I think if you're sweetening it and if you're flavouring it, they're all good. Unless you find the Sainsbury's one runny like I do. But in that situation, you're changing the taste anyway, because you're adding your own flavourings to it, or your chocolate powders, your Nutella, or whatever you choose to add. But I just eat it as cork out the tub with a spoon. So while I've been saying for ages that the Asda one was my favourite, last week Asda didn't have any, so Joe bought me a 500-gram tub of Arla cork. So on Monday, I actually ate the whole tub as a dessert, 500 grams. And oh boy, it was so filling. Now it's high in protein, cork, so it should have filling power. But I found that one really filling. And I said to Joe, it's a pity they don't do a 250-gram tub. And then, hey presto, we were in Morrison's 2 days later, and there they were, 250 grams of Arla protein, Arla cork, high in protein. So can you show that, Joe?
Yeah, I'm showing it now.
Showing that. It's gorgeous. Now this one to me, and remember, I don't see, so taste and touch are and smell are my big things. This one is so silky, it makes for a gorgeous dessert. As I say, I eat it just as it is, but if you were going to add flavourings or whatever to this, I find it's just like eating double cream, but then I've got a vivid imagination. But yeah, it's lovely. Currently £1 for a 250-gram tub in Morrison's. We haven't seen it in any of the other supermarkets, but they do have the 500-gram ones. But if you're anything like me, if it's a pot and I've got a spoon, it's mine. I'm going to eat the whole pot. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I can eat a 500-gram pot of quark. It's still free. But I think in reality, 250 grams is possibly enough for me. Right, then I just wanted to touch on my results, which are very, very ordinary this week, and I'm very, very happy with them because I've got to maintain. And if I can eat the way I ate this week, and if I can drink the way I drank this week, and if I can enjoy my food and drink the way I did this week and get and maintain, that's a bonus. I have been 100% on plan. I have had, I think, between 12.5 and 13.5 sins every day. I haven't had any avocado this week. What I chose to spend more of my sins on this week was coconut lattes from Costa. I've discovered I actually prefer the medium-sized one, which is 5.5 sins. Now, I like to allow myself 8 to 10 sins for avocado. I don't want a little bit of avocado. I want at least 80 to 100 grams. If I allow myself 5.5 sins for my coconut latte, 5 sins for my sushi, depending on which sushis I choose, that leaves me 4.5 sins. I don't want 45 grams of avocado. It's not enough for me. I'm a all or nothing type. So going forward this week, I may drop some of the coconut lattes and I may have more avocado again. But I've really, really, truly enjoyed those coconut lattes. At one time I would have said I wouldn't spend my sins on drinks, but now I've found a drink that I actually feel like is something special. It's not just like having a coffee to me, because I can have coffees at home and use my healthy extra A's, or I can go to Costa and drink the cold brew coffee, which I really like. In fact, one day, might have been Monday or Tuesday when it was really hot, we got to Costa and Joe said, "What are you drinking?" And I was like, I don't know whether to have a cold brew or a coconut latte. Oh bugger it, I'll have both. So I had both. And why not, when you can, you know? I'm adopting a bit of a different attitude to it now. I don't spend my sins on sugar, because that don't work for me. I don't get any joy from doing that. But I've had a lot of joy this week drinking a medium-sized coconut latte every day. And in fact today I might splash out my sins and have a large one. So that's been good. So I maintain. I'm really, really happy with that. Because as I say, yeah, 2.5 pounds I need to lose to get back to 9 stone. I'm 9 stone 2.5 currently, and I'm planning to achieve that by my birthday, which is like 6 weeks away. So I can do it. Been looking a little bit more this week at the Slim for Life book and looking at how it affects me. I do think it's a great plan. I think the Slimming World have made an effort to come up with something to motivate people once they've reached target. However, looking at it and talking with my consultant this morning, I do believe it's a plan for people who are newly at target or recently at target. Because I was talking with my consultant this morning, and I am honest enough to say I think I've been doing the plan A for about 18 months without the additional sins. And that's because my sins are pretty savvy. And that's the word they use, not that I used to call them smart sins like Fopaholic does. They call them savvy sins. That's my avocado and nuts and things like that. That's not spending those extra sins on cake and chocolate and biscuits and crisps and ice cream, because they're not savvy sins. So when it says 1 extra healthy A, 2 extra healthy A's, 3 extra healthy A's or B's, whatever it says, you can choose now A or B. And then twice a week if you wish, 10 extra savvy sins on plan A, 15 extra savvy sins on plan B, 20 extra savvy sins on plan C. I know I couldn't get away with that. I could not. If I added that amount of sins in every week, savvy or not savvy, I'll see a weight gain. Now, I'm only one person. There's thousands of people who will succeed on that plan. I intend to continue doing the plan A, so I am on that plan. I don't intend to add in the extra 10 sins twice a week, because I know I can't do that. I do between the 5 and 15 sins. I'm usually closer to the 15. Once I get back to 9 stone, I'll make sure I have 15 every day, and I will add a healthy option. But I won't be adding in the extra sins, because I know from experience over the last year of allowing my weight to go down to 8 stone 8, back up to 9 stone 4, that what got me back up to 9 stone 4 was adding things in, and I didn't add any sins in. I only added in healthy extras. So if I did that and then added the sins in, my weight can't go anywhere other than up. Now for younger people, for more active people, for people who are heavily into really good positive exercise, I think that's a different story. But I can only look at my lifestyle. I'm coming up to 62 years old. I'm moderately active, although to be honest, this week I haven't walked any distance at all other than from the car to a supermarket or something, because it's been too darn hot. And I'm not going to put myself out there and get burned just for the sake of going for a walk. But if I can maintain the way I've eaten this week and having done no exercise at all, I'm comfortable with that, because I'm living my life in a style I need to live it in. I mean, Joe's just come back from a weightlifting show this morning, and he was telling me about a lady who was my size. Did you say she deadlifted or bench pressed? No, squatted.
Squatted.
She squatted what I used to weigh. She squatted, she's my size now, so around the 9 stone mark, and she squatted 22 stone. And I think it struck Joe because it was a bit like the new me squatting the old me. When I tell you now, I can do a squat. Can't say I particularly enjoy it, but I'm not that way inclined. am not going to get joy out of doing 50 squats a day. I get a lot more joy out of sitting down with a coffee and reading a good book. But you know, we're all different. And I think for the youngsters, the hope and the positive vibes that come from having this Slim for Life plan are really worth it. I know, talking with a guy in group this morning who's been at Target for about 6 weeks, he is planning to do plan A, step 1. And I said to him, wouldn't you prefer to go straight to 2? And he said, no, I need to put my toe in the water and test how this is going to work for me. And I think that's true of all of us. You know, just because it says in writing that that's worked for somebody doesn't mean it will work for us. And as individuals, we have to test things. And I've often said on my channel, you know, I can't lose weight eating sugars, but I know a lot of people who can. So we have to find what works for us. And that's something I'm really, really starting to understand about this plan. We're all like snowflakes, we're all very different. So I've been quite inspired by reading the book. I've had some more read to me, and Irene helped me out with putting it on my computer and that. But I have to say, I think I have got my route to stay at Target. And the other thing I felt after reading it, and I don't know whether this is just my opinion or what, it's only my opinion because it's born of my experience. When I set my first target, which was 11 stone 11, looking back, I could have maintained that really easily. When I set my second target, which was 10 stone 10, looking back, hindsight's a wonderful thing, I could have maintained that easily. This target at 9 stone, which is 126 pounds, I have to be really on it to maintain it. I don't mean I have to like cut down on what I eat and I have to deprive myself or any of those things. My lifestyle could not be better. I could not be happier living the life I'm living today, eating the way I eat today and having the social life I've got today. Couldn't be better. But I know that it isn't so easy to maintain a target of 9 stone. For me, as it would have been to maintain a target at 10 stone 10, which would have me at overweight, or at 11 stone 11, which would have had me at obese. That's only my experience, and it's also my lifestyle. So I've got to do what's right for me. I'm not happy at 10 stone 10, I'm not happy at 11 stone 11. I am very happy at the weight I am today. Very happy. So I've got to go with that. If I want to stay where I'm at today, I've got to go with that. And that's what I intend to do. So looking forward for the week. I'm going to continue to be on plan. I'm going to continue to have between 5 and 15 sins. I'm going to continue to eat and drink whatever I like within the plan. And I'm going to continue to enjoy it. And what more could I ask for, really? When I consider, you know, the lifestyle I had back then compared to the lifestyle I've got now, I don't even feel like the same person. And I mean, I know I'm approaching 62, I'm double the age and more of a lot of the youngsters who do Slimming World. But I've got more of a life now than I ever had at 22 stone. And I'm not going to jeopardise that for the sake of an ice cream or 3, in my case, or whatever. Nothing feels worth it. I'm just happy to be living in the body I'm living in today. And I'm living in the body I'm living in today because I've worked this plan. No magic wands, no doing it Jane's way, no, you know, making excuses, just literally getting my head down and changing my habits. And I've made no sacrifices. That's the wrong word for me today. I've just made different choices. So yeah, got to maintain, and I'm very, very happy about it. We'll be back next week. We're off now to do a Sainsbury's shop and a few other jobs, and then I'm going to look up, or get Joe to look up on the app, how many sins for a large coconut latte, because I think that's going to be my sin for. I'll have a pleasure today and get lots of joy from that, because it's something I really enjoy. Yeah, waffling, going. See you next week, and remember, works if you work it, it won't if you don't, or not to the best, anyway. We'll see you next Saturday. Say bye, Joe.
Bye.
Ciao.